What do you do on Sundays?
Nothing in particular. What do you do?
Oh, nothing lately. I mean, if you'd like to come visit me sometime, you're welcome to. At least there's some pretty country around where I live. Would you like to come visit me this Sunday?
Yes.
What a strange girl you are.
Why?
Flung out of space.
Hi everybody, I'm Peter Travers and welcome to Popcorn, where we tell you what is happening at the movies. And there's a movie now called Carol, starring Rooney Mara and Kate Blanchett. And it's a love story about two women in a world that was very different back in the 1950s. But my guest Rooney Mara comes to me, well, not so fresh from it since it happened in May, but she won the Best Actress prize at the Cannes Film Festival. And now, other awards will just be thrown at your feet. You know that's going to happen, don't you?
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
It's
know
all about awards now. It's awards, 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 awards.
That's a terrible way to look at life.
It is a terrible way, but it was really nice to win at Cannes, wasn't it?
Yes, that was. That was a huge honor because, you know, it's a small jury of people that you look up to and admire, and it was such a surprise. You know, really was not expecting it.
Tell everybody who your character Therese is.
Well, I play Therese, and at the start of the film, she's you know, she's a young girl. She's working at a department store during the holidays, and she has this boyfriend who's sort of seemingly everything you would want in a boyfriend, and she has a group of friends, and it seems as though she's on a path to a very nice, comfortable future, but she's very unfulfilled and unhappy and uninspired in her life, and I think she feels quite alone, but she doesn't understand or know why. Then Carol walks into the shop and into her life and sort of flips everything upside down, and then the movie takes off from there.
What is it about that? I mean, when Carol walks in, she's Kate Blanchett, but she's dressed by Sandy Powell. She's like this perfect example of glamorous femininity. Yeah. And you are sort of poleaxed by it. You're looking at it and saying, what is this?
Yeah, well, you know, that's how I felt in real life too. And I remember when we did our first sort of screen hair and makeup test in full costume, and we still hadn't figured out Therese's hair and makeup and wig, and so mine was sort of still in flux. And I remember Kate walking onto the set, and she was in sort of that same kind of outfit that she walks into the department store in, and I was just like, oh my God. I felt so sort of small and hideous and dowdy and mousy next to her, and I just couldn't believe it. I felt like I was looking at, you know, a movie star from yesteryear, and that's sort of, Kate is very magnetic on camera and off camera, so.
Yeah, I've seen that.
It was easy to pretend.
How do you work out how you're going to do this? Does Todd Haynes allow for rehearsal that you're going through this, or does he like it to be as spontaneous as possible?
Todd is very collaborative, and I think any independent film has spontaneity because when you're on location, there's always spontaneity. You just don't know what's going to happen. But we did have 2 weeks of rehearsal in Cincinnati before we started shooting, and really that just consisted of us sitting around a table talking through the script. We weren't acting things out. We were just sort of talking about, you know, each beat in the movie and what we wanted out of it, and subtext and all that
But
stuff.
a lot of this is watching you. Kate's character, Carol, is always had the makeup, the hair, the outfits. Yeah. You have to behave, whether you're an amateur photographer as well and looking at the world through that lens, but you're also somebody who is a shop girl selling things to people and having to present yourself into it. So there's a really slow build-up to what's going to happen with this relationship.
I feel very much I can relate to that because I'm an observer and I love watching people, and I consider myself that, but I'm also sort of have to sell things to people and it can be quite uncomfortable. And I think that Therese feels very much that way. She is an observer. She's a voyeur and loves to watch and observe people and soak everything in. And then Carol comes in and she has never seen anyone like her before. She can't even really believe that she exists. I don't think she even knew it was possible to be a woman like that. in trying to figure out what kind of woman she wants to be. I think she sees traits in Carol she'd sort of like to have for herself.
Yeah, because you can't, your character, Therese, cannot articulate what she's feeling. There is this wonderful scene where you're on the phone and saying, I want to ask you things.
Yeah.
And she has to say, ask me things, please. She
Yeah.
has to, she wants to tell you, but it's so long before you can actually express what it is you're feeling.
Well, because I think that Therese doesn't even have, she doesn't have the language to describe the things she's feeling. You know, there's this great line in the book, Therese is talking about Carol, and she's like, well, I couldn't possibly be in love with Carol because Carol's a woman and can't be in love with a woman. Like, it's just not even part of the realm of possibility for her. And there's that very sort of innocent, earnest scene with Richard, her boyfriend, where she's asking him if he's ever been in love with a boy. You know, it's so, like, not on her radar. She's not judging it. She can't talk about it or describe it.
When you're a member of the audience watching yourself, what is that? Is that a pleasurable experience for you?
Oh, no, God, no. I mean, it's so hard, you know, I can't really judge it or be objective. And whenever you're a part of making something, I can see all the stitches. I can see all the work that went into it. You know, actually, this film was I was able to lose myself in about the first 35 minutes. And then it's just too hard. Hopefully in like 5 or 10 years I can watch it and
You can go back and
experience it the way that audiences have been experiencing it. But it's just too hard when you're in it. You're just judging yourself the whole time. At least I am.
Well, look, your sister Kate is been doing this same profession as you are. She did it before you. So
Yeah.
is she helpful? Does she say, Rooney, here, watch out for this. Don't do this.
I mean, I think much earlier. I mean, we've both sort of do that for each other now. But yeah, definitely when I had first started out, for sure, yeah.
You do it for each other now, so you look at each other's work and you can be critical.
Oh,
with
God, no. She doesn't do that. I wouldn't do that. No, I would
No.
never be like, you know, in that one scene.
That was just really, let me give you notes.
And I wouldn't have any anyway. I think she's brilliant. But we definitely don't do that. I don't think that would be a help. I wouldn't do that for any sister or not. I wouldn't.
You wouldn't do it to another actor.
No.
Yeah. Well, there are some people that do. I hope you don't get to work for them. You know, or with them, or in any way like that.
The thing is, you do it so much for yourself. I mean, at least I do, and I know she probably does as well. You're so critical of yourself. Like, I don't really need to hear what other people's criticisms. I already know them. You know?
Yeah, nobody could come up with anything that you couldn't beat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be it. I remember seeing you very early on in Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yes.
You know, is that your seminal, wondrous experience of?
Of what?
Did you enjoy it?
Yes and no. It was very, 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 very challenging, difficult to shoot and be a part of for lots of different reasons. And then on top of that, I made 2 very good friends on that film, and we had we were all in it together, you know, we were all having some challenges. We just had so much fun. And you really learn a lot on those kinds of experiences, on films that sort of are more challenging. You learn a lot about yourself and what you are capable of and what you don't want and what you do want.
But when you get Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, you're under a microscope.
Yeah.
At least when you were doing that, nobody knew, but suddenly you're playing this part everybody had an opinion about.
Yeah, that can be challenging.
They all saw that in their head about doing that. And when I first met you, you had done that. And it had to be wrenching experience to play her.
It wasn't, you know, while I was doing it, I was really lucky that, you know, David and the whole team behind that film really kept me in this sort of little bubble. I was really shielded from any outside noise. I really just disappeared for a year and didn't think or worry about what anyone else was thinking or saying or wanting. I really just got to disappear into it. And then, of course, obviously, yes, when it comes out, there is all of that. But while I was doing it, none of that was crossing my mind.
What of what we've seen of you, Rooney Mara, on stage or screen or whatever you do to perform, it comes closest to who you are?
To who I am in real life?
In real life, yeah. That person. I'm looking, you know. Who is she?
I don't know that any of them do. I mean, there's I think that everything that I've done has a little piece of me, but none of them are fully me. I mean, there's a lot about Lisbeth that I felt very close to and related to in a lot of ways. And then there's a lot about Therese that I related to, not so much me now, but when I was younger, there was a lot about me that I could relate to in that part. There's usually always one little part of a character that I feel I can relate to.
I love Ain't Them Body Saints that you did. I just think that's just a lovely movie that people haven't seen enough of.
I know, I love that film.
And we live in a world where we can have access to anything, but we don't seem to want anything but what's just coming out. And yet it's there. Is there something that you have that you would say to people, look at this movie I was in? Not about me, but because you thought that the movie itself was an experience to see.
Well, I think definitely Ain't Them Body Saints is one of those films. I did this film called Trash that I don't think hardly anyone has seen it in the United States anyway. In other countries, people have seen it, and I'm barely in it. It's a film about these 3 Brazilian boys, and I play a very small part helping to tell their story, and I think that's a really beautiful film.
It's kind of a wonderful career. You're choosing things, projects that seem to be something that appeals to you. You could do a movie for Spike Jonze like Her.
Oh yeah, I love
and
that film.
it's just, you know that you're driven toward it because you're working with somebody that you want to work with to do it. It's enviable. It sort of gives you a choice in what you're doing. It sounds like you don't have your own agenda though. This is where I'll be 5 years from now.
Well, I mean, I follow the directors. That's why I'm here. It's because of them, and that's such a huge part of my decision-making process. And it's kind of everything when you're on set. You want to be working with directors that inspire you and that you trust, and that those are the people that I follow. So.
So of Todd Haynes, who you've just worked with in Carol, what about his work? What, other than Carol, that he's done really hits you?
Oh, I mean, everything. Superstar even is,
Karen Carpenter's story.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with that.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And when have you ever seen anything else like that? Safe, Far From Heaven. I'm Not There, with what he did with Kate on that, and all those other brilliant actors. I mean, Todd, he has this deep love and understanding and respect for women, and he's been such a sort of incredible storyteller for them. And so to get to work with someone like that, it was just,
As we end, we end in song, and you've broken my heart now, at least a Trinidad.
I don't remember.
Yeah, you do. You did once give me something.
What did I do?
It was a slight, I don't want to put it in your head, because I'm just looking for, because I know you're in the shower, you must hum, you must do something. That's so simple. I have a dog, I'm always singing something to her.
You know what I used to do with my dogs, actually, which was really good training for Carol, which I didn't even realize, is I constantly just speak to them in like a 50s dialect.
Well, okay, I'll take that, and we'll set it to music. No, you would do it in the 50s. It's always, I can't. I forgive you almost, even though you could see the disappointment.
Next time I come in, I'll bring a pre-recorded
version of something you did while you were private, and then you'll do it.
Yeah.
Rooney, thank you.
Thank you
for putting up with me. It's so sweet of you.
Thank you for putting up with me.